spotted the suspect's vehicle pulling out of a bar several blocks from this area. He started to give chase. Other units were called in. As you can see right here at 29th Street and 22nd Avenue, his vehicle, a Bronco, crashed into a pickup truck. One of our officers ended up crashing into the front end of his vehicle. At that point, the suspect pushed his gun out of the window where he was driving, fired one shot right at the officer. It hit the glass right in front of the officer. Fortunately, he was not hurt. Other officers arrived. The suspect was just then getting out of his vehicle with his gun drawn, and 2 to 3 officers opened fire on him. There's reason to believe they probably hit him here. We think there may be other shots that were fired at the other scene that also hit him. He was rushed to Tampa General Hospital. I'm told he's in critical condition in the operating room.
Thank you, Steve. Kelly, Frank, we'll have a wrap-up on this story. Even now, it's still unfolding. We'll have more tonight at 11 on the Night Beat.
All right, to wrap things up then, Kelly, we have a suspect in custody at Tampa General Hospital who is in critical condition at this hour. We have a police officer, 25-year-old Porfirio Soto, who is dead, shot earlier this evening in Tampa. Suspect in custody, but again, critical condition.
Right, and we'll have more for you on Night Beat at 11 o'clock. Armed robbery in the Jackson Heights section of Tampa.
Less than 4 hours later, suspect Jackie Simpson is cornered by police. Simpson pulls a gun and is shot by officers. He was rushed to Tampa General Hospital and is now in critical condition. Good evening, I'm Frank Robertson. He was on vacation.
And I'm Kelly Craig. And our top story tonight, Tampa's police force stunned as one of its own is killed in the line of duty. Officer Porfirio Soto and his partner had a warrant for Jackie Simpson's arrest on armed robbery charges when they arrived at his home in Tampa's Jackson Heights.
But a struggle followed, and Officer Soto was shot in the chest. He died half an hour later at Tampa General Hospital. Following a massive manhunt and after another exchange of gunfire, Simpson was captured tonight. He's now in critical condition at Tampa General. And that's where Pulse 13's Kerry Sanders has been all evening long. He brings us an update now. Kerry?
Frank, suspect Jackie Simpson still in the emergency room right now. They are performing operation. No word how it's going yet. We do know he has 5 bullets in his body. In an odd twist of irony, suspect Jackie Simpson arriving at the same hospital tonight where Officer Porfirio Soto Jr. was pronounced dead. The suspect appeared unconscious, numerous officers arriving with the ambulance. Simpson with a bullet shot to his chest, paramedics taking him directly to the emergency room. A very emotional evening here tonight, especially for the family of the officer, as you can well imagine, as well as, of course, the numerous people on the police force. It's like a family, and it was very difficult for everyone to come here to the hospital tonight and hear official word from doctors that Officer Porfirio Soto Jr. is dead. Wife Carmen Soto arriving tonight in the comfort of a family friend. A Tampa police officer who worked with Carmen's husband telling her the tragic news before she arrived at the hospital. Doctors, police, city officials, a chaplain, a psychiatrist meeting with Carmen. Police psychiatrist Vince Scottcow saying, quote, "Unexpected death is unexpected death. There's nothing you can do to make it easy to accept." 25-year-old Porfirio Soto Jr. with the Tampa Police Department since November 1987, the former Marine Sergeant arriving at Tampa General Hospital shortly before 6 tonight, coming via air ambulance. Shortly after his arrival, emergency room physicians declaring him dead. Tampa Mayor Sandy Friedman, understandably emotional, asking that cameras not use lights tonight, still trying to understand what happened.
No stone unturned. The Tampa Police Department and the rest of the law enforcement is not going to rest until this person is apprehended and brought to justice, yeah.
Obviously, he was captured, is, as we mentioned, in critical condition, still in the emergency room, surgery currently being performed. Officer Soto's body was brought out of here about 30 minutes ago. He was taken to into a hearse, a guard of officers standing by the hearse at attention with their arms behind their backs. The hearse then departed, leaving this way with a escort of cruisers with their lights going. Now, the suspect, Jackie Simpson, was apprehended in the Belmont Heights area, and that's where Pulse 13's Rich Jaffe is standing by. Rich?
Kerry, what began in gunfire ended in gunfire here at 29th Avenue and 24th Street in Belmont Heights. when the man hunted by Tampa police for killing an officer earlier this evening was felled by a hail of police bullets. The deadly drama began shortly after 5 o'clock when two Tampa police officers, Soto and Johnson, tried to serve a warrant on Jackie Simpson here at Idlewild and 37th Street in Tampa. According to police, Simpson started going for a gun, and Officer Soto tackled him. Simpson shot Soto through an opening in his bulletproof vest. Officer Johnston, according to police, emptied her weapon at Simpson but was unable to stop him. He took off. A few hours later, Simpson was spotted at a nearby bar and a chase began. A chase which ended with at least a dozen shots being fired as Simpson again shot at police officers and tried to get away.
The truck, it came down here and it went to the house right there at the corner. And the police, they tried to block him off, and he cut around. He got around the car. He came back, and he tried to go across there, and the truck got stuck. And then the police, they surrounded, and then I just heard the shots.
How many shots did you hear?
It was about 12 or 13 shots. It was a lot of them.
As the Bronco crashed, the other officer came up close. The suspect, who was driving, reached out of the driver's window and fired one shot at that police car, hitting it in the windshield. At that time, some other officers were out of their car. They approached the vehicle. He came out, gun drawn, and they fired.
I have in my hands Jackie Simpson's arrest record, at least for the city of Tampa, and it is a long one. He's got 2 counts of arson on it, 4 aggravated assault charges, and at least 3 burglary charges. The search that went on for Simpson tonight was really a massive effort. There were off-duty police officers that came in. There were Hillsborough Sheriff's deputies involved, Florida Highway Patrol troopers involved, everyone searching for this man. And I'll tell you, Frank and Kelly, as tragic as the evening has been, it could have been a lot worse, because when Simpson came out of that Bronco, the first thing he did was fire at an officer in one of the squad cars, and that bullet went through the windshield and just missed his head by inches. So all in all, it's been a difficult, dangerous, tragic evening, but in some ways it's also been a very lucky one for a lot of other cops.
Rich, a lot of things have been happening tonight. You've done an excellent job of gathering all this information. In the time that you've been talking with Steve Cole, has he been able to tell you the last time this happened in the city of Tampa?
Frank, it's unusual for a Tampa cop to be felled by being shot. The last officer who was felled was hit by a car, and frankly, the Tampa Police Department has a very, very good record when it comes to losing officers in the line of duty, but as we all know, even one is one too many.
And a sad footnote to all of this, Soto had just graduated from the police academy last year, and very, very sadly, he was the father of a 10-month-old baby. Tragedy all around tonight.
It's true.
Rich, thank you very much. Now, Officer Soto's murder is symptomatic of an alarming trend in Florida. Statewide, he is the 9th officer killed in the line of duty this year. 6 policemen have been murdered in Dade County in 1988. 1 West Palm officer was killed, and another one gunned down in Tallahassee. In 1987, Florida and New York both had 14 police murders, second in the nation, behind California's 15.
Coming up on Night Beat, we'll have
if he was shooting at me or shooting at my partner. And it was just so dark and so fast.
At the Tampa Police Academy, 200 cadets a year from police departments in Hillsborough and Pinellas counties are taught to try talking their way through all situations.
What are you doing back
Sometimes, though, talk just doesn't work, and the officer suddenly faces an explosive situation. Sergeant Jim Diamond, a police training instructor.
There are times when an individual who demonstrates more than sufficient hostility and aggression that the officer may not be able to place his hands upon that person.
In Tampa, Mike Simpson and other field training officers teach rookie policemen these guidelines for serving arrest warrants. Always have a backup officer just in case. Maintain the element of surprise. State the purpose of the arrest and stay with a suspect, keeping his hands in sight at all times. And at that point, officers arrest, handcuff, and then frisk the suspect and take him to jail. In the West Tampa shooting, the Hillsborough State Attorney's Office called the shooting justified, arguing that it would not have occurred had Mr. Bailey not exited his home with a loaded gun and fired it at one of the uniformed officers. But Officer Mark Schlechte has to live with the shooting.
It hasn't come easy to me to be able to take somebody's life.
Still pending is a civil lawsuit on behalf of that shooting victim, charging that the police officers were improperly trained and supervised and that the shooting itself was racial in nature. But every year all over the Bay Area, police departments serve arrest warrants in the tens of thousands. And from experience, officers know that buried in each warrant is a potentially deadly situation.
This was so tragically demonstrated tonight.
No doubt about it.
Thank you, Mark. There's also unhappy news for another one of this week's shooting victims. A 1-year-old baby shot and wounded on Tuesday will not make a full recovery. That story ahead.